What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Channel with me, Mike Zakarian, as we inch closer to the NBA season getting going. Celtics should be reporting to training camp in a week or so. We're getting more updates out there. We're just so close to getting some actual basketball so we can stop paying attention to like Amon Shumpert on podcasts, which, by the way, if you missed that over the weekend, Amon Shumpert had some wild takes. For those that remember Shump, he was on the Cavs championship level team. But he talked about how he thought his role was more important or impressive when he was on the Sacramento Kings, when he was allowed to cook, as he said. And if you just, I mean, this is a Googleable thing. You could just check this out. Shumpert averaged 9 points, 3 boards, and 2 dimes when he was on the Kings. So I just love this podcast era. But anyways, we're closer to actual basketball action. If it's your first time here, hey, do me a favor, hit the subscribe. As I've talked about before, too, we're inching closer to 3K subs. And if we get to 3K by the start of the NBA season, we are giving away a pair of Celtics tickets. So get involved. Share it with a friend. Hey, maybe you hate this? Share it with an enemy. Get creative with your shares, you know? But let's get into some of the, I was going to say action, but it's not action. Let's get into some of the information that came to us over the last couple of days. First one, a lot of this is like impacting the Eastern Conference. That's not really about the Boston Celtics, but Tyler Herro of the Miami Heat. Let me get the official report here of what went down, but he is going to miss quite a bit of time. We probably won't see him until close till Thanksgiving or so, but he has a tear, which the rumors are, by the way, and we can't report this. I don't know if this is true, but the rumors are that Tyler Herro got hurt doing some paintball. That's what some of the Miami natives are reporting right now. He also tweeted out a photo of him after surgery with him flipping everybody off. He said, "I'm gonna tear the league back down once I get off this weak ass bed." That is what he posted on socials. So shout out Tyler Herro for being creative, but he will undergo procedure on his foot and is expected to miss some time. We're looking at like 4 to 6 weeks of the NBA regular season, and that's if everything goes well. So the reason this is important, which is probably pretty clear to a lot of you, is that the Miami Heat were probably one of the teams, or were one of the teams that were like predicted to be somewhere in that 6 to 9 range. Nice. The NBA standings this season, and that's where the Celtics are. And I think, myself included with a lot of other people, believe that the Celtics are probably in that range. They're probably messing around with the play-in team. But then you take away a team like Miami, and all of a sudden the top 6, top 5 look a little bit clearer, a little bit like there's a clearer path for the Celtics to get there. Because if you look at the Miami roster now, it's kind of a weird one, right? It's a lot of pretty good players with not a lot of great players, right? Where if they had Tyler Herro, they'd also have Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo, like borderline all-star every year, always in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Kind of leaves you wanting a little bit more, though. I feel like there's a lot of inconsistencies on the offensive end. And if he's going to be your best, like 1A, 1B type player, it's hard to be a catalyst for that. And when they lost Jimmy Butler, like whether you think Jimmy Butler is a 1A or not, it's kind of like that alpha dog in Miami. And now it's all on Bam's shoulders. They still do have Andrew Wiggins, although Wiggins is in a ton of NBA rumors right now, NBA trade rumors, excuse me. Most notably with the Los Angeles Lakers. But honestly, can you trust anything you're hearing from LA? I mean, LA, if you've ever played basketball before, somebody's tweeting out that's a Laker fan being like, well, rumors are that Carlos Santana of the Cleveland Guardians is interested in coming to the Lakers, right? Like, you just name a name, and some Lakers fans tweet out, we want you to hear. I want you to play here. But Wiggins is somebody to keep an eye on. They got Norman Powell in that Clippers deal over the offseason. But then after that, it's a lot of younger guys like Davion Mitchell, who kind of stepped up last season for them. He's still in Miami. He'll probably start the point guard now with no Tyler Herro. They have Khalil Ware, who looks like a watered-down Wembanyama, who like that, which is obviously still really good, but he's super raw. Like, and the Miami Heat coaching staff were really frustrated with him last year, so the playing time was inconsistent. His play in general was inconsistent. They've got the Serbian Nikola Jovic, who got hurt last year. Jaime Jaquez Jr., which there's some wild rumors about Jaime Jaquez Jr. if you want to get involved in Google. Jaime Jaquez, Eric Spoelstra. Go ahead, enter it into Google. But after that, I mean, who knows? Who knows what Miami's going to have? So I think that like immediately is going to launch the Celtics ahead of the Miami Heat, who honestly were like right there. They were neck and neck. And again, I don't know. We'll talk more about it when we get to the Celtics chances portion of this show. But I think this is a pretty big blow for Miami and just like a nudge forward for the Boston Celtics, who again, like the Eastern Conference, sure, the Knicks and the Cavs are in their own world, but after that, I think it's really a toss-up. On paper, Atlanta and Orlando should be, and Detroit for that matter, should all be teams that are right there, like a second tier. But then, I mean, there's no reason the Celtics can't be there. Those three teams have yet to actually win anything, and we're already putting them ahead of Boston. So I don't know. Before we get to Skinny and Beat, I'm just going to go ahead and apologize because we're going to do our best. I was going to try to do a quick mute, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. We're battling an illness, boys and girls, so there might be some coughing and some shortness of breath, which we will talk about when we get to the comments, by the way. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right, let's get going. Because of this illness, I might be Skinny Zakarian in a couple of days, but let's talk a little bit about Skinny Embiid. Joel Embiid, apparently, Joel Zempic, I don't know. He's out there talking about how he's getting his body right, and he's going to approach this season differently. I always think these stories are weird, weird might not be the right word. Obviously, it's incredible that Joel Embiid is in great shape, and I want this man to stay healthy. I don't root for anybody to get hurt. I think he's an incredible talent who is like good. He'd be like a great wrestler. Like he's good at he understands the moment. He's good at playing heel. He's good at poking the bear, nudging the fire, right? And so I want him to be healthy. I think he's more fun that way. But real quick, I'm just gonna. How old is Joel Embiid? Let's throw that into Google. He's 31 years old. So why is now the first time that he's Skinny Embiid? I feel like this happens all the time. They're like, you're not going to believe the type of shape this professional athlete's in. We're doing it with Luka right now, too. I'm like, I don't know, man. Outside of putting the ball in the hoop, that's kind of your job. Like, I would like to think that I'd be yoked AF if my job included a personal trainer, a personal chef, nutritionist, all that stuff. I would like to think that I would also be cut and jacked and would be very comfortable taking my shirt off in public. But think about that with the Marvel. Anytime like somebody gets hired to be a Marvel guy, oh, can you believe the shape Chris Evans got in? Yeah, I can. That's his one fucking job. Yes, I do understand that. Anyways, now I just am saying, like, yes, Embiid is skinny, and I wonder if that allows him to stay on the floor a little bit more because we know Philly is desperate for that, right? 76ers are desperate to have Embiid on the floor. Right now, their roster looks like it has a ton of upside, but also like a low floor because you have Tyrese Maxey, who, has really blossomed the last couple of years, and I actually want to make a take right now that I think Maxey is going to be the best Philadelphia 76er this season, and that's not even with Embiid playing bad. I just think we're going to see a big leap from Maxey. Goodness, excuse me, we almost made it. Paul George. We have no idea how healthy Paul George is going to be. We know he's going to miss the start of the season, it looks like, at least training camp. He had a procedure in the offseason. We don't know. You have VJ Edgecombe, who Sixers lucked into a top 3 pick, right? Edgecombe looks nice, or is it top 4 pick? Top 5? I don't know. They had a top pick. Edgecombe looks nice. We'll see what he looks like. Jared McCain was off to a really fun start, both online on TikTok and on the floor before he got hurt last season. And it's like, what are you going to get from Embiid? So if they're able to stay healthy and Kelly Oubre stays, they've got a backup in Andre Drummond and a Dembono. Like, depending on how healthy they are, I feel like the Sixers could fall anywhere from a 3 seed in the Eastern Conference to a 9 seed in the Eastern Conference. So again, back to Skinny Embiid. Like, does this keep him on the floor more? Possibly. But congrats, man. 31 years old, Skinny Embiid. Let's get to some of the Celtics' chances. I know we talked about this a little bit here, surveying the East. And we did this not too long ago, but I wanted to do it one more time just because I think we can see how much has shifted in the few weeks since we've done this, mainly because of some of this injury stuff. But I wanted to bring up here, I was listening to the Game Theory podcast with Sam Vecini, which if you're like a real basketball dork, I highly recommend. They really get into the weeds with some of this stuff. But they seem pretty high on the Celtics. And some of this stuff is slowly making me rethink where Boston is, because I have been right down the middle of I think the Celtics season is going to be pretty dependent on how the first couple of months go. I think if they get off to a decent or great, anywhere between great and decent start, I think the Celtics are going to be real feisty. And if they come out a little bit slow, I can see them just punt and get ready for next year. But again, you look at this whatever this starting five is, I'm not even going to do the starting five because you guys get too cranky about Anthony Simons. Let's talk about the rotation guys, the guys that are going to be playing big minutes for Boston, right? You have Anthony Simons, you have Peyton Pritchard, you have Derek White manning the guard position with Baylor Shireman, Hugo Gonzalez floating over there in the corner. You have Jaylen Brown, and this is where it gets a little light with the wings, right? It's Jaylen Brown, it's Sam Hauser's out there. I don't know, whatever we get in Jordan Walsh, Josh Minot, Chris Boucher, and then the three-headed monsters. It's kind of strong, but Neemias Queta, Luka Garza, and Xavier Tillman, right? That I feel like the range of outcomes is all over the place. But as the Game Theory Pod was saying, there's something about this Boston infrastructure and the continuity of this team being together for as long as they have been. And like, yes, there's lots of new pieces, but there seems to be like this common thread running through this roster and just comfort in it that it's almost like a built-in 45 wins, And right now, the Celtics, if I recall here, they are at a 43.5 total, which again, that puts the Cavs ahead of them. That puts the Knicks ahead of them, the Magic ahead of them. It puts the who else in the Eastern Conference? The Hawks, the Pistons, the Bucks, then the Celtics. The Miami Heat have now fallen all the way down. They updated it to 36.5 for an over/under and win total. I really do think here, again, Cleveland and New York, I think have too much talent. I do believe they are going to be the 1-2 outside of weird injury stuff, which, by the way, Cavs are already dealing with it, right? They lost Ty Jerome to free agency. Darius Garland's going to miss the start of the season. Who knows when he's going to be back? Max Strus is probably going to miss the majority of the season. So Cleveland, still a ton of talent, but, they can't, one more injury, and all of a sudden they're right down there with Boston. Knicks, new coach. Who knows? Who knows what happens with the Big Bong Boys? Who knows? Maybe some Kawhi, Jalen Brunson stuff. You know what I'm saying? Speaking that right into existence. Again, I mentioned Orlando. Yes, they've been 8 seeds, 5 seeds. They get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs last couple of seasons. Paolo ascending, Franz ascending. But again, we're still seeing all of this happen for the first time. They've yet to win a playoff series. Let's see, can they gel with Desmond Bane? Can they actually figure out the center position? Wendell Carter Jr. right now is their big. What do they do? The Atlanta Hawks, they now have to require Porzingis to stay healthy. Can Trae Young actually put it together in his last year before getting a new contract? There's a lot of question marks there. And then Detroit, they lost Malik Beasley. They added Duncan Robinson, Karis LeVert. Who knows what that looks like? If Jaden Ivey comes back, do they all make a leap? Or, again, the Celtics are right there. So I think a 4 or 5 seed is within range for the Beantown boys. And I'm bought in. There was some great footage this weekend of Jaylen Brown, who was streaming. Jaylen Brown, I don't know if he's just been inspired by iShowSpeed or whatever streamer you could think of. He seems to be just a little bit more online than he normally has. Shout out JB. But he did this thing where he was on stream, and he was like, I'm going to call my teammates on stream and see how long it takes till somebody answers. And it took 5. It took 5 until somebody answered. But then our guy Peyton Pritchard answered the phone. So shout out Fast PP. Didn't leave JB hanging. But man, the Jaylen Brown hero season incoming. I'm ready for it. I really do think we're getting it. I think we're going to see I think we're seeing a minimum second team All NBA. As long as he stays healthy and the Celtics don't tank, Jaylen Brown is going to be a top 10 player in the NBA this year. He's going to finish second team All NBA minimum. We're talking 27, 7, and 7. That's what the averages are going to look like. All right, let's get to some of your comments so I can go suck an inhaler or something. Let's get into some of them. Appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. Do me a favor if you haven't subscribed yet. Get involved in the subscriptions. And this is the comment I'm going to start with, okay? This is from RTSC1WX. He said, hey, good information, but it's tough listening to you gasp for air after every sentence. Hey, RT, it's tough giving the information and gasping for air after every sentence, all right? Listen, do you want the news or do you not want the news? We're digging deep here, all right? This is Pete Sampras throwing up at the U.S. Open. This is Michael Jordan after he ate the bad pizza in Utah, all right? I can't think of a third example, and that's unfortunate because it's rule of threes. All right, but come on, man, cut me some slack. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the Kawhi stuff. We had our AJB03 serial commenter said, "Do we think it's just Kawhi they are paying under the table? Don't they have Beal on a $5 million a year contract?" Okay, that's kind of a fun one. I don't think it's more than Kawhi. I think Steve Ballmer would have to be almost like a Marvel supervillain level type thinker to be like, what if we did this with a bunch of guys. Like, that would be real brazen for him to do that. The Bradley Beal contract looks super cheap, and I agree with you, but here's why. Like, Bradley Beal had to get bought out from his Phoenix Suns deal. He got like they kind of like what they did with Damian Lillard. And then because of that, he could only make like so much money before it counts against Phoenix a little bit more. And so Bradley Beal's thought process here, no matter where he went, it was going to be somewhere between 5 and 10 million. I think we actually reported on that when we were doing videos as Bradley Beal was getting bought out. We knew it was going to be somewhere between 5 and 10 million for 1 or 2 years. And Bradley Beal's point or thought process here is like, I want to go play for a competitive team and I want to play for a new contract. So he's going to like, let me go show teams I can still cook and then I'll get paid again. So I don't think that is the case. I do think it is interesting. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. We're going to pause for a cough. But our guy Mark Cuban has been very active on social media defending Steve Ballmer for all these allegations. And it just makes me wonder, I thought Mark Cuban was like way busier. I thought he just had more going on. Like he's tweeting enough that it's making me feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, I'm very online. He makes me feel like I'm outside. Not outside. You know what I'm saying? It does make me wonder if there were other scenarios where this has happened, and I wonder if some owners are nervous if Ballmer is found guilty of circumventing the cap, if all of a sudden the microscopes are going to get tightened, and that we're going to start examining some other teams' stuff. I mentioned Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. I mean, that was an incredibly team-friendly deal. They've already been dinged once for negotiating in bad faith when he initially signed with the Knicks. So that's something to pay attention to. And I wonder how other owners are feeling. I think it's like a 50-50 mix right now where some owners are like, this is bullshit. Like, you can't do this. Like, this is an unfair advantage. He's the richest man in NBA by a lot. Like, he's got 3x more than the next owner in cash. And if he's able to just, like, willy-nilly go around the edges here of the rules while also being buddy-buddy with the commissioner of the league and on the audit committee, if he's able to do that, then what chance do we have in, like, spending enough money? So, I don't know. We'll see. Again, the league has basically said we're not going to get this information or this investigation is not going to get concluded until late, like most likely after the All-Star break, which wink, wink, nudge, nudge, All-Star break. Guess where that's being held? The Intuit Dome, home of the Los Angeles Clippers. So unless Pablo Torre comes out with another video, that might be it for a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. But again, apologies specifically to RTSC for gasping for air. Imagine how my body feels. You dick. But thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow as long as, we're breathing. We're out skis.